Hello and welcome to webinar series from Happiest Health. Happiest Health is a health and wellness knowledge enterprise which will bring you a series of webinars on various health topics.
I'm Kumaran, and I will be your host for today's session on healthy use of technology amongst children and young people. It's clear that technology is here to stay, and the world is becoming only more digitally driven. In many ways, that's a good thing. Technology can be empowering for kids of all ages. With tools that help children learn in fun and engaging ways, express their creativity, and stay connected to others. Children who are tech savvy will also be better prepared for a workforce that will predominantly be digital. At the same time, parents naturally worry about their kids accessing inappropriate content online, the impact of too much screen time on healthy development, and their children becoming tethered to technology. As the most situations, a balanced approach to these new challenges works best. Adam Alter, the New York Times best-selling author, in one of his books, Irresistible: The Rise of Addictive Technology and the Business of Keeping Us Hooked, says the most important step is to establish a balanced or sustainable relationship with technology. With this, we will move on to introduce our panelists today, who will discuss the various aspects of technology, various aspects of how do you use technology for better use or for worse. We have with us Dr. Manoj Sharma, Professor of Clinical Psychology from Service for Healthy Use of Technology, Shut Clinic, NIMHANS, India. He has earlier worked as clinical psychologist, National Drug Dependency Treatment Center, Department of Psychiatry, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIMS, New Delhi. He has done a lot of research and shown clinical interest in internet addiction, gaming disorder, social media use, behavioral addiction, psychological test development, screening tools for behavioral addiction, intervention for behavioral addiction, and behavioral management of anger. We welcome you, sir, on this panel. Our next panelist is Ms. Shripriya Unikrishnan, Head of School, IKEA School from Bengaluru. She has over 15 years of experience in the field of education. She holds a bachelor's degree in education, master's degrees in nutrition and diabetics, and in public administration with a postgraduate diploma in IT. She has also undergone Young Learners English Examiners Training, Cambridge, and has taken part in teacher workshops on connecting classrooms and curriculum planning and assessment. She has participated in teacher exchange programs with schools in the United Kingdom, organized by the British Council. Ms. Shripriya Unikrishnan has been with IKEA School since 2012. We welcome you, ma'am. Next up in the panel, we have Ms. Priya Arya. She's a parent, an emotional strategist, emotional intelligence trainer, and founder president, Smilofi India Foundation. Smilofi is her dream child through which she aims to bring peace and happiness in the lives of each souls she encounters. Very inspiring, ma'am. We welcome you. To begin our conversation, Ms. Priya, I would come to you as a parent, as a whole emotional strategist that you've been working. In the initial phases of pandemic, children could not step out to play and were restricted within the four walls. Children resorted to gadgets, especially more when the online schooling became the norm. How did you deal with the whole situation as a parent?
Uh, it was a task for me too because see, the child is not going down. There's no activity nowadays. Unlike how our olden days were, we had cousins and all over. Nowadays, it's a part of a nuclear family, and ours is a super nuclear family where it's just me and him and a dog. So how much can I alone while I'm working? How much can I indulge in his daily needs? It's kind of very hectic for all of us. So yeah, he kind of got a lot into gadgets initially because I did not know how to handle things.
Okay.
I can't blame the child here. But then eventually, when, of course, see, because I come from this field, so awareness levels are pretty high. So when I
Right.
started seeing these behavioral changes in him, and there are behavioral changes because when they are on gadgets, they have less emotional attachment with anything around them, including their parents, including the pets, including everybody. So that they just shrink themselves into the four walls of that mobile or the tab. So when we started observing that, even he observed my son, he's 8 years. So we had a long chat about it, and we just decided to cut down on the time gradually, not drastically, because then again, that is not happening. So gradually, we were able to manage the time in the next 6 months, which and we were able to create more fun exercises between us,
That's nice.
which gave him that sense of achievement to begin with what he was getting there. And then, of course, there was a timetable that was set for him. So, so yeah, eventually it fell in place, but initially it was really tough. It was not easy.
Right, right. Of course, definitely a lot of people would agree to you when these kind of times actually wrecked everyone's
You know,
schedule.
when it suddenly they get their own gadgets, right?
Right,
Before that, they
correct.
did not have their own phone, their own tabs. Now, thanks to the
Exactly.
schools and all, they had their own phones and tabs. So it was like,
Right.
it was a
And
success.
it became a norm. You need to have a phone
Yeah,
and you need to have a
so
gadget.
so it
Correct.
was a new high for them, and you
Right.
of course did not want to pour total water on it, but still
Right.
you knew the side effects. So yeah, so it was a uphill task, but yeah, we managed somehow.
Right. On the other hand, while you are facing this, we have Ms. Sripriya Krishnan, who's head of school, IKEA school. Ma'am, I just wanted to understand many schools use blended mode of technology for teaching process. They use smartphones, they use tablets, they use smart screens for that matter. How do you ensure that the children do not get engaged more with gadgets and less with books? So, how did you manage in the entire school atmosphere?
Yes, like Miss Priya mentioned, it was a kind of a mammoth task actually to actually withdraw them from gadgets and get them into the requirements or the norms of in-person school.
Right.
So more so because of 2 years of the online format that we followed, and children were literally glued, and we couldn't take that away from them because they had to rely on gadgets for their education as well. So we were forced into such a situation. So like was mentioned, I mean, nobody's to be blamed, and not the children too. So but then now we are back in in-person school, and we're seeing that kind of social skills being actually revived, you must say,
Right.
because they are not away from their gadgets, and literally zero screen time during the day, except
Mm-hmm.
when they're watching some educational videos along with the teacher. So initially there was a lot of restlessness in the class, and
Okay.
like doctor said, they were not able to get hooked on to the tasks that they were supposed to do. They were fidgety, they were moving around, they were restless, kind of withdrawal symptoms from the gadgets and the screen. So we faced a lot of it, but we engaged them in a lot of physical activities, and
Right.
something that could involve their mind as well, a lot of hands-on projects, and their lab activities,
Right.
and reading, and all these engagements could slowly get them away from this whole deprivation from gadgets, and engage them in a productive way, free
Correct.
from gadgets. So I
Correct.
still had some senior school students sneak in mobile phones into their bags, which
Okay.
I constantly get our teachers to do a surprise check, and we just we keep the parents informed also to keep a
Okay.
vigilant, to not to send these gadgets, or to be careful that they don't slip it into their bags. So
Thanks.
really
Yeah.
really important, because as was mentioned, a lot of time and gets wasted on screen
Correct.
with inappropriate content also. So that's a lot that we have to actually take them away from,
Mm.
and engage them productively in socializing with the other classmates or the
Right.
teachers, and in some productive learning. So
Mm.
it be a judicious blend of both. because we still continue to have few things online where they might
Okay.
have their assignments or something that they can go home and then they can check on those and complete. So it's kind of a hybrid, but during the day in school, in-person school, there is no access to any gadgets at all, except during their computer classes, they will be sitting at their, desktops and working.
Correct, right. You bring out a very important point, ma'am. So, Dr. Manoj, actually, it's very tricky when ma'am says that though it was very difficult for students to come after 2.5 or 2+ years to the school campus, and you take them off from all the technology and take them off from all gadgets. Ma'am was also mentioning about withdrawal symptoms. So, how do you see that withdrawal symptoms, doctor, and how does that happen, and what do children undergo when they see this?
Basically, withdrawal symptoms comes in the forms of restlessness, irritability, sometimes anger outburst. Anger outburst can manifest as toward themselves, because some of the children's or young children's threaten parents that they will do some self-harm activities also,
Okay.
or towards others also. And along with that, if that is not there, then children do feel sadness. Children do feel that not feeling good, that feeling of well-being is not there, and they feel once the devices are given to them, they will feel good, they will become productive also. That is the rationale they give. And somewhere along with the withdrawals, there is a concept called digital failure. Digital
Okay.
failure is whenever there is a variation in net connectivity, like initially we also had. So,
True.
so what happens when the children are engaged in gaming and all, suddenly your speed goes down and there is a variation. Children feel restless and they start blaming parents that they are doing intentionally. And sometimes parents feel very helpless that how can I do something with the Airtel and Reliance and Jio? That is their things. But in one of the case, what happened? The child insisted that every time when he faced this speed issues, he insisted the parents to change the network, and the parents have tried out all the networks, but the
Okay.
problem still remains. So that withdrawal symptom of that irritability, and somewhere what happened? It's also matter of trust between the child and the parents also. If there is a good communication between the child and the parents, parents can easily handle these withdrawals by talking to the child, by
Okay.
convincing him. But when there is a lot of mistrust is there, the child feel they are doing intentionally, or
Okay.
parents feel that he or she is not obeying them, leads to exaggerations of expression of these withdrawals also.
Right, right, right. Very aptly put, Doctor. So when this question comes into saying that the parents also need to have that kind of a communication flow, I would come back to this question to you. How much is too much? Because we don't know. Because are there any yardstick for children? What should be the ideal screen time if you say that this is the entire companionship that they need to have? So if you could just throw some light on that also, Doctor.
Basically, now we are working on, I think, research is, we are have taken up a research to understand how much is too much, so that we are
Oh,
developing a guidelines with a
great.
cutoff in coming years also. I think it will be there. It's not for children, even for adults also, because sometimes children complain, if you are doing counseling to me, counsel my parents also. They are too much
Right,
on
very
devices.
true.
So we are developing cutoff for all the age groups. So maybe in a year time, we will be able to come with a
Right, right.
figure
That
that how much is too much.
that's great, doctor. So if that on the same lines, if you could also tell a little bit about the research done in the Service for Healthy Use of Technology shut clinic in the National Institute of Mental and Neurosciences in India. So if you could just tell about your clinic and what you do there and what are you seeing there, if you could just also tell a
Uh,
little bit about that.
Basically, this clinic was started in 2014, and it's a India first tech de-addiction clinic to help all technology users. It's not gaming, it's not social media, but all sort of
Okay.
technology user who got issues in terms of inability to control, or if they are experiencing dysfunctions due to technology use. So the clinic main objective was to develop awareness,
Mm.
where media has played a much wider role in achieving this objective. So we are thankful to media houses. Second thing is to train manpower, where we are working with parents, we are working with teachers, we are working with counselor and other health professionals also.
Okay.
So I think what I'm seeing now, even in health setting, people are screening technology use, which was not the trend when we started this training. So now they're screening and they're advising also. And even in
Great.
schools and all, that change has come. Third objective was kept is to continue our research work in this area to develop empirical evidence in Indian context. So what we are working on, developing a screening tool, developing various information materials, as well as we have standardized one module also for helping the children with technology users.
Okay.
So now broadly we are getting cases between 14 to 20 years of age group. That's a major age group we are seeing, but we also got treatment seeker at the age of 11 years also. And this case was typical because most of the gaming platform doesn't require any skills to play. You don't have to attend 12 years of education to play any game.
Correct.
And that can be achieved through YouTube, that can be achieved through peers also. So this young child of 11 years gave a very strange logic to the parent that he wants to quit education and he wants to become a gamer. So it was a shock for the parents that how can they allow 11-year-old child to take this independent decision and to allow him to become a gamer at such a young age.
Okay.
So that's I think young case we got, but most of them are comes in the 14 to 20, and the major signs which the parents notice are decline in their academics, change in their social activities. Either they don't want to go out, they don't want to interact with friends, they don't want to interact with others. Even in family situations or family contexts also, they avoid interaction with the parents also.
Okay.
There is a change in their eating habits, and especially this has been observed during COVID time also, that either they avoid food or they take junk foods and all. Physical activity has become very minimal. Nowadays, even if they want to do, I think various apps are there to do various exercises, but doing in offline setting always give a different pleasure. I'm not criticizing all this. That has advantage, but offline setting also give you opportunity to go out and interact with others also. Sleep is another domain where we are seeing a significant change. Most of the young children have started sleeping, going to the bed around 1 or 2 a.m., which is very striking for the parents. And whenever the parents makes efforts, it brings a lot of resistance. It brings a lot of conflicts. And it's not the conflict with the parents, even parents are experiencing conflict among themselves. Either they are blaming each other because one parent's complaint whether I didn't do a good parenting. Because if I would have given a good adequate attention at very young age, my child would not have become a technology addict. And I would also say most of the parents have good communication and don't use the word technology addict. Because sometimes child feel I'm already addict, then why should I quit?
Okay.
Because parents are not going to change any their perception. So these sort of issues we get child and related issues, we get families issues, and with all these issues we start seeing the cases where children doesn't come on their own. Most of the times the parents who
bring them along.
So children remain in denial mode. Children always says in the first session, it's my parents who brought me here. Otherwise, I think I can manage. Because earlier in our time, 60 like higher percentage used to count, but today's children feel 60% is okay. Rest of the time they have to write competition, or they can join as a gamer or YouTuber, because that's the other career opportunities are coming up.
Correct.
So that also has a career opportunity, but we have to see how we can bring a balance. So child remains in a denial mode. So we have to first develop a rapport with the child, understand his or her technology use, understand his or her daily schedule, and how much he is avoiding. Then we have to have a separate session with the families. And once we get all the issues, then we give psychoeducation to the child as well as to parents, and we somewhere relate that these are the issues because of your technology use. But initial sessions, we don't discuss reduction in technology. We discuss more on what are the other positive skills and what are the various controlling measures they can use, like whether they can take breaks. Sometimes we recommend every 40 minutes, why don't you take break to relax your eyes, to relieve you from fatigue, which may involve blinking eyes, moving head forward, backward, or moving wrist clockwise, anti-clockwise. With this simple exercise, what happens? We build up control in the child's behavior.
Okay.
Then we brings one concept called digital fasting. We
Okay.
recommend whole family to do a fasting for few hours in a day. If not few hours, at least 1 hour a day. Because one family, when we recommended that why don't we spend 1 hour together, all of them were very enthusiastic. But after next follow-up, they told that they saved 1 hour, but they don't know what to do in this 1 hour.
1 hour.
Because they were quite active on devices, but when they face to face, they found it very difficult to spend 1 hour in each other company. So
Very
we are
true.
promoting digital fasting where they can spend quality time without technology use. And we build up, ask family also to build up rules for sleep time, at least 30 to 40 minutes. If it is professionally not required, if all of them can spend time in a offline mode and go to the sleep on time. And then physical activities, 60 to 90 minutes physical activity we recommend to all children. So till now, we don't say any reduction in technology. We are just saying promoting physical activity, promoting family communication, and improving their sleep, improving their appetite. And we
Right.
negotiate at least they should have 3 meals. And if it
Right.
is with the family, it's well and good. If these sort of changes start coming up, then we say, how are you feeling? They say, I'm doing a lot of things which I was not doing earlier. So that gives them confidence. And then
That's
we
right.
discuss, would you like to further reduce your technology? And when we work on technology, we work on other factors also. Maybe their mood issues. Sometimes child who has attention ADHD, we have to work with ADHD also
Okay.
because technology use they find useful because they feel they are able to concentrate. There's a lot of novelties there which help this kind of children. So we have to help with them with other psychological issues as well as technology issues. And all these sessions we conduct parallel session with the family also so that they
Mm.
should understand how to communicate and how to lead a good quality life.
Right, right, right. Very, very. I think there's a long way to go for shut clinic, and of course,
Yes.
a lot of research to be done in this. With this, you mentioned something about taking away from children or giving up. So I would ask Ms. Priya. So there are issues of emotional breakdown when something like this happens, right? When phone is asked to keep away or confiscated at homes or schools, like ma'am was saying, that they go for a checks, and even in colleges that happen. As an emotional strategist, how do you think parents should deal with it? That's something that's very difficult. So how do you think that happens?
Dr. Manoj gave the clue to the solution here.
Okay.
Communication is the only route. You cannot behave like a dictatorial here saying that I'm taking it from you and you better not take it. You can't do all that.
Okay.
You're asking the child. See, change is always very difficult for anybody. And we are talking about little kids.
Yeah.
Everything is, and specifically if we talk about teenagers, their hormones have already kicked in and there's a lot of havoc going on within them. The
Right.
search for their own identity is on. So
Yes.
in such a case, if we will try snatching things from them and try doing all of this, it can go really wrong, in a very wrong direction. So parents have to start a way of communication with the child and
Right.
open communication and a very very I call it emotionally enriching, not just enriching, emotionally honest communication
Of course.
with the child, not showing yourself as the Tismar Khan and the boss of the house, showing yourself that okay, probably I am failing to understand.
Okay.
I want to understand. Let's understand. Even I am wrong here.
Right.
Accepting your faults also sometimes helps a child to understand okay, everything is not picture perfect. See, we also give that picture perfect problems to our kids, no? Okay, everything
Right.
has to be perfect. So in order to chase that picture perfect, they somewhere lose themselves. And then, as Dr. Manoj said, they fall back upon all these external silly things like gadgets,
Right.
silly things like YouTube more than the games. I'm sure Dr. Manoj must be getting these, the gamer part of things. When I see we live in a apartment also, and we have so many kids here, and they all come home, and most of them are spoiled because of these YouTube channels. That fake sense of stardom, that and the language used, and the
Okay.
the fake sense of everything. So they feel if he can, I can too. And those are all very normal looking boys sitting there and gaming and, having millions and millions of followers. More than anything else, this is one main reason. So when the child doesn't have, when the child is searching for his or her own identity, it is very easy to fall in these traps.
Right, right, right.
This is where the parent comes in to put the child back in track, saying, okay, you're much better than this.
Mm.
The child has to start believing in himself or herself more than anything else. So gadgets will come and go. See, technology is here to stay. We cannot say,
Yes,
okay, abhi hata do. Nahi ho sakta,
correct,
because then that fear of missing out happens.
correct,
As
correct.
doctor said that even if the little there is a problem with the connection, the kids go crazy. It's fear of
Yes,
missing out. FOMO happens. Okay, and if there is a game, say supposing there is a game and the child is has a lesser version of than the friend's version, again the fear of missing out happens. They want everything updated, and they want to be the show offs, and I know it all. But then
correct.
here, this is where the parent comes in, where we have to speak to the kids that, okay, this is not the age to know it all.
Exactly. So
You may
on the
not be ever.
correct, on the same point, I would like to take that particular thread from what you spoke. So I would like to ask Ms. Sri Priya on that, ma'am. How do you help the children in mindful usage? So that's exactly what Priya was saying. The usage. So what usage and how do you use? So how do you help children in a mindful usage of technology, be it in any form, for that matter?
Yes, a lot of meaningful insights from Dr. Sharma as well. Thank you for that, sir. I could actually relate to what you were saying, and how we could use it with our children here. And as Ms. Priya also pointed out, the healthy conversations, communication, and first of all, making them aware of the pros and cons of excessive indulgence in technology. So as you said, we should have a judicious mix of both, and the responsibility is on the adults who are working with the children to actually tell them, how much is too much and what is good for them. So what is overindulgence and things like that. So where to draw a line. So this can only be like a carrot and stick approach, I must say. So you say, okay, you do your work and you get this. So you that's the way we work with kids, and also engage them in meaningful conversations. Children almost always talk about gaming. Whenever
Yeah.
I ask them, did you wake up and stay back late? Yes. What were you doing? I was, and this game and that game, they'll come to tell me all of these stories. But we also should create this kind of awareness amongst parents also, because,
Okay.
the time that they are out of school, they spend at home. So, we'll have to make the parents aware, how much of their time they should be giving the kids. So all those dinner table conversations are a must, to ask how the day has been, and what happened in school, and all those things go a really long way in helping them out. And like doctor said, proper division of their time that is available in hand.
Right, right, right.
Who is there to tell them all of this? So it's the teacher community, and we have the counselors here, and like the kind of work doctor and his team are doing. So that is how we'll have to actually make them aware and understand, and help them managing their time in really healthy and productive ways. So a
Right.
lot of parental support is required,
Mm.
support from the school. So school and home, we have to work in collaboration and
Right.
do the best possible for our kids to make them understand what is the right thing. We're not asking them to shut away completely from technology, which is
Mm.
just not impossible. So like Ms. Priya said, they have this fear of missing out. They want to be always on top of things. They
Yeah.
don't want to be left out
Yeah.
from the society. So social media is one thing, being connected with friends
Mm.
for, good and bad reasons. So, there's a lot of things that they need guidance on. So it's the teacher
Correct.
community, the counselor community, and together with people who are involved with children, we will have to create that kind of awareness, not only in the children, also in the parents. Like sir said,
Correct.
the children say, you'll have to counsel my parents and not me. And quite often I also see, third grader or second grader also into gaming, and I ask them, how do you access these games? So they
Mm.
sometimes say, my dad downloaded it for me. So it's again, parents are also part of it. So
Rightly.
together the entire community will have to work towards, making the children aware, and to actually help them judiciously manage their time, for their academics, and also engaging them in a physical activity like a sport on a daily basis.
Okay.
That's a lot, in this direction. So
Right.
engaging them in the right way, with all the people who are there, who are the caretakers, to be involved in this.
Right. Right. So, ma'am, when you were talking about what do they use, how do they use, and what content they access, this is exactly where a very concerning point comes into a picture, even for a parent like Priya, and I'm sure for you as well. I would like to again bring in Doctor to talk about the safety aspects of it. Doctor, there are safety concerns involved in children's exposure to the internet. There are multiple instances where children are being misused for various illegal traps on the .nets. How do we, as in, I mean, parents, a school, and the society at large, address this particular issue of safety?
Basically, if we go with the World Health Organization recommendations, I think this says that young children's, they should spend less time with the screen and they should be more in the field or in the physical activity. And whenever they use screen, it should be in the company of elders so that they can have a quality-based program.
Right.
And since they're using the screen in the company of elders, they can educate them also, like what are the safe and unsafe use of technology is. Because sometimes young children are on YouTube, but there is a differentiation. There is adult YouTube and there is a children's YouTube
Children,
also. But I
yes,
think most of the children are onto the
adult.
parents don't give attention whether they're using young children. So I think that sort of literacy. So that's the second communication. When we are saying first is communication,
Right.
second is cyber literacy. Parents have to, whenever they engage the child, I think that's a critical point. Whenever they engage the child with the technology, they should educate him how much to use, how long to use, and what are the safe way to use. I think if
Right.
these three communication goes into the child's whenever he use, I think it will become like child will also pick up these things and will develop this safe use of technology.
Right.
Second thing which comes up, because most of the childrens are in the WhatsApp group also. I think even the schools and all start WhatsApp group. Initially it is for academic communication, but later on academic communication shift to other sort of because children develop their independent WhatsApp group also, and then they start sharing their other personal communication also. And if these devices is not, because most of the time devices belong to the adult member of the family, so if they share any personal communication, and this communication can also be misused. So again, children to be taught or literate that they should not share any personal detail. As far as recommendation goes, up to 14 years of age, they should not share any personal details, photographs on any kind of online media platform, so that
Okay.
it should not be misused.
Right.
And another thing which they have to educate, in case if they come across any offensive communication. So first, children have to understand what is offensive, what is bad communication. Like when we say in real life bad touch, but here also we have to say bad communication. So what are those bad communication? If it happens to them, they should immediately report or discuss with the parents, and parents should give the assurance that if they discuss,
Okay.
their technology will not be taken away. Because most of the time children doesn't discuss, because they say if I will discuss, parents say stop from today, no mobile, no internet. So I think if that assurance goes from the parent that please feel open, we are okay with your technology use, but if you come across any communication, please discuss with us. If that is
Very
so,
true.
that build up a good confidence. So communication, confidence, and cyber literacy would be three milestones.
Very true, Doctor. So when you talk about the cyber literacy, safety as a concern, as a matter of a parent or a school, so I would come to this safety concern aspect a little more deeper. Would like to ask Ms. Priya, what are the safety concerns do you see when children have their social media accounts at a very young age, and they look for likes, comments, and shares? All that is revolving around that. So, what do you see as a safety concern there?
Am I audible to begin with? Because
Yes,
all of
sure.
you
Yeah,
got
you are.
stuck on my screen. So,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, as a parent, I have personally gone through this, where kids they make friends with each other, as doctor said, and they create the WhatsApp group, and then they start sending not appropriate stuff also sometimes.
Okay.
And being a parent, it is very unnerving. It is very unnerving because I had once caught one boy, 14-year-old boy, trying to and thankfully. And when he told me, he asked me with a very inquisitive thing, why? I say, and thankfully, I had given him a little base of sex education before, so I could explain him. We have an open communication, so I could manage to explain him things, and it didn't damage him that much. Now, I shudder to think if there's somebody else, like most of the Indian parents are not open to talk about certain things with the kids, as we very rightly said, how much is okay. So, so if that parent sees this,
Yes.
am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are. You
Hello,
are. There was a little lag,
am
and
I audible?
now it's fine.
Huh. So now, if that parent who sees a child of a young age, like 8, 9, 10, being shown porn, I don't know how parents will react to that. And the first instinct is to take the phone away. That is the first instinct which everybody does. Uh, and that is like a punishment for the child. The child will never open up next time. So the best way is to empower your own child. The child has to know what are the goods and the bads happening. For how long will you be around the child? Aaj idhar nahi, you go on YouTube, those shots that come, half naked women are standing there also. How much can you stop your child from seeing things? So what you need to do is empower your child to know what is good and not good for him or her. You cannot be a helicopter parent here at any cost because everything is so openly there. How much can you
Right.
stop? How much can we put a ban on? Aaj nahi to, if we'll put a ban today, so what we are doing, more bans we are putting, it is becoming a forbidden apple, and forbidden apple is always very attractive. So we are
Correct.
creating attraction for the child. Rather than creating that attraction, you just matter of fact, हाँ ठीक है ना, हाँ बनते हैं, हाँ it's okay. The what I told my, हाँ that's okay. That is a money making scheme. People make money out of this. That is not reality. In real, actually, that is only to make babies. What is all this rubbish? You know, you kind of rubbish it off. But yeah, no matter how much you try rubbishing it out, the threat is always looming. And
Right.
me
Right.
as a parent, I'm very, very, very vigilant because all his social media accounts and all go from my account. So,
Okay.
so I know where he's going, what he's doing on a daily basis.
Right.
But yeah,
Okay.
but still,
So,
he's just
so,
8. I
so
don't know
when
what he'll
when
be doing at the age of 14.
right, right, right. So when this comes to a question, I actually had a question to Shri Priya ma'am about how does she see a lot of gadgets and how does she see children coming out to affinity towards gadgets? And of course, she covered that particular point on a large basis on how children are actually coming to school and then how they are actually not able to withdraw anything. So, on the last note, I would like to ask Dr. Manoj, what should parents do when they want to take a professional help? Because I'm sure this is going to be helpful for teachers like Shri Priya Krishnan, also like parents like Priya. So, when do parents come and seek professional help? Also, tell us about the shut clinic. How many cases a week or a month do you deal with, and how do people approach?
I think the major sign, if they notice, if there is a change in the child daily schedule, like change in the forms of sleep, either in day-to-day activities or is school-based activities and other things. If there is a change in the daily schedule of the child's. Second thing, there is a significant preoccupation to remain with the screen or with the devices. That's a second change. Third, because of preoccupation with the devices, are they procrastinating their academic activities? Are they procrastinating other activities of the daily schedule? If the, and associated with that, are they developing any other behavioral issues? Maybe anger, maybe other issues which is not a part of his or her behavior. So if these sort of signs are there, that's a signs to communicate that what is happening. First, parents should try. These are the signs to communicate with the child what is happening with him or her. If they can help the child to understand his or her reason for screen use and his or her reason for avoiding other activities, it will help the child to change those activities. If that doesn't happen, rather than bringing rules which where a lot of resistance is there, they can take a call to take an appointment with, if they are based anywhere, to with the Service for Healthy Use of Technology, SHUT Clinic, which is based at NIMHANS Center of Wellbeing, BTM Layout, Bangalore. And broadly, now we are getting, because of, one is because of awareness, second because of COVID time, since most of the families were at home and work from home was a culture, so a lot of vigilance has come, because earlier 9 to 5 parents used to be outside, so I think the vigilance part was not there, but now vigilance has come and parents are also aware that what is happening with their children and what is happening with their
Oh, I think we will come back to Dr. Manoj. There's
so
some Doctor, there was some network issue. We couldn't hear, and there was a lag. If you can hear us,
yeah.
there was a little connection issues. If you could just repeat the last bit of it.
So basically, we are now getting 8 to 12 to 14 cases in a week,
Okay.
and most of them are technology user. Predominantly, it is for gaming related issues,
Mm-hmm.
and it has become a concern during COVID time, because most of the work culture was from home and the children have classes from home only. So that's why, and most of them got access to the devices
Yeah.
during this time. I think most of them have now independent devices which they
Right.
are using it. So that's why the use has increased, the concern has increased, and the parents wants early remedy so that child can develop a balanced use. That way I will feel parents are okay that if child has a balanced use, they are okay with the gaming and other things also, but they want academics not to be sacrificed, physical activity not to be sacrificed, and they want child to spend quality time in the
Right.
family
Right.
context.
Right. Right.
These are their expectations. So we works with those also to develop a healthy use of technology, but it takes time because it's a habit. And since they have developed this habit because of peer pressure, because of boredom, because of free time, because of accessibility to device, because everybody is using at home and everybody is using, like now, streaming, binge watching. Now another thing has come, sometimes whole family watch web series and all, sometimes 2 3 shows goes in one go only, so child feel if my parents can watch, I can also watch. And now there is a term like, if you watch 3 episodes in one go and more than 120 minutes in one sitting, then you have a phenomena called binge watching.
Yeah.
And there
Right.
is a concept called binge gaming also. If children are playing more than 5 hours at a stretch, then it is a binge gaming. And both
Yeah.
of these components are related with impulsivity.
Okay.
Maybe it's a emotional discontrol. The first, I think the discussion we started with self-control. So
Yeah.
these are already means it's a lack of self-regulation activities. And if that is happening in the family context, whole family has to take decision. And if parents become a good role model, it's easy to convince the children also.
Right, right. I think Dr. Manoj has given us a whole perspective of starting from technology to how parents need to deal and how schools need to deal and everything. One last questions to Ms. Shripriya and Ms. Priya as well. Uh, Ma'am, so there are many educational institutions encourage children to take part in group activities. For example, an app development or a coding competitions and something like community service initiatives through an online campaign. How do you ensure that children make the best use of technology without falling prey for it? Of course, Sri Priyama. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, again, it is nothing but awareness and constant monitoring. So, we'll have to actually teach them how to make the best use of technologies. What we do is we do, connect with them online, for some meetings or, some other extra classes. We make use of that opportunity. If we want to conduct a remedial program, for those students who need extra academic support, we make use of this because this can be done after school as well at home.
Right.
So, so some of these things are taken to our advantage. I mean, this opportunity of online being there for us, unlike, the pandemic years when it was continuously online. So we do utilize that opportunity as well, but we engage them in a lot of meaningful activities. For example, instead of a service learning program online, we get them to the field. We engage them with we have an environmental making Bengaluru greener campaign this year.
That's
So
right.
take them to the field and get them to distribute saplings or sow seeds, or they are also engaged in lake restoration activities, things
Right.
that require their physical presence, trying to completely, or at least a big proportion of their time being devoted to something that is done in person with physical activity. So, and then slowly cutting down on this, all the activities that require a screen. And of course, certain things, like I said, an after school program could be done online. So there is a proper mix of both online and there is no excessive indulgence in online, activities.
Right.
Yes. And again, awareness about excessive indulgence or engagement in social media activities. Again, their self-esteem. We have counseling programs and well-being programs within our schools. So, we have our counselors on board. So children who feel low, they do have a lot of issues when they're not given adequate time, or parents do not give their time. They are busy. Even if they are working from home, they cannot devote the entire time to the children, right? So they have their own work schedules to follow and things like that. So there has been a lot of deprivation that way as well, even when everybody was at home. They
Right.
did not get their fair share of adult time with them, so that did happen in the online format as well. So all of this has actually led them to this over indulgence or on screen. So we'll have to slowly counsel them, talk to them, have initiatives that will involve more of physical activity as against, sitting on sitting at the computer glued to their screen. So we'll have
Sure.
come up with different programs that actually excite them, engage them, and remove their focus from what they were once totally inclined to. So that is
Great.
what we are looking at, taking them on field trips, outbound trips that would be part of their learning. So we are working on a lot of such initiatives that not make them feel deprived of that screen.
I was about to ask you that questions about how children have actually lost the touch of toys, the board games, the open fields. Is what that there's been a lot of difference in that. So with that, one last thing that I would come to, Priya, ma'am, I just want to ask you. So when you talk about, okay, the usage of technology in certain countries are like this, and the parents are really not open to it in certain ways. Of course, this matters differently in various demographic areas across the globe, and we are talking about this issue as a global issue. And of course, you have seen your parents and the circle that you are there in the parent community, having people in different backgrounds, different countries, different areas. How is it like that?
So technology is definitely here to stay. Can you hear me? You
Yes,
mentioned
yes,
you don't
yes.
hear me. Okay. So when the technology is here to stay, we have to make friends with it rather than get scared of it. And the only way to make friends with it is by empowering your child by saying, okay, this is your laptop, this is your palm top, this is your tab. Either you can go into the world of that YouTube and make a fool of yourself for life, or you use it to your own benefit to figure out who you are. Like, for example, I do that with my son. He gets the tab for half an hour to figure out different people, and finally is able to come up with 3 names whom he idolizes. Okay, and now he actually goes ahead and watches videos about them and sees what they have done in their lives and what he can incorporate from their lives. So these are the videos which are good for him. And this is the information which is good for him. So if we can push them towards that direction to use the technology for research, use the technology for artificial intelligence is going to come in. It is almost here now. It is going to take over. The many jobs that we know today may not be there tomorrow.
Very true, very true.
You have to be very, very, very skilled when it comes to the technical skill. Until and unless, and if we keep feeding them, it is bad, bad, bad. I mean, we are creating a conflict in their own heads. That is why they land up not trusting the parents, because technologies, they are born in with technology.
Right,
They are
right.
born in the era
I'm
of
sure.
technology. So how can
I'm
we
sure.
tell them that technology is not good for you?
That's exactly
So we are
one.
creating a conflict between us and them.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, but then that's exactly what one of our attendees and one of my colleagues has also asked a question, that should we redefine healthy and unhealthy tech dependence, especially after the pandemic, since we are forced to depend so much more on technology a lot of these days. And of course, you guys have all answered to this. And also we we are having many questions here, but then I think it's time that we wrap up this session. Ms. Priya, quick few seconds that I will go around all the panelists to share what is their last words that they have to say on this entire particular issue, and then we close the session. Yeah, Ms. Priya.
Are we answering the questions, or what is
No, I wanted to know what is your last statements on this particular issue as the head of the school. What do you see, and what do you see in the future in this tech world?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this very interesting session, and a lot of insights and awareness as well for me to use in my work with the children. So thanks to all the panelists and you for inviting me over.
Thank you.
And as words to conclude, so it's all about awareness, being there for the children, helping them how they, how to manage their time, and bringing out and planning initiatives that can engage them productively, and also, tell them how technology can be used in the right way. So we have a lot of, computer science sessions, which is actually part of their curriculum, and they are engaged in coding and other things. So, they should actually understand what technology can do for them, and, both good and bad. So that is how we'll have to create an awareness among the entire community, which includes children, teachers, parents, and work together to help them out.
That's very inspiring about how building technology to build a better future. That's great, ma'am. Ms. Priya, as a parent, what do you see in future? How do you see your 8-year-old son and in another few years to come? Ms. Priya.
Okay.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me now? I don't know what he's going to be in the future. We are still in the process of figuring things out. One day he wants to be the prime minister of the nation. The next day he wants to be the Elon Musk of the world. Then he wants to be the Jeff Bezos. But I know one thing: he wants to be the leader in whatever field he has to choose.
That's right.
Some days he wants to be Neeraj Chopra. So I don't know.
Right.
we are just struggling. He also wants to be Ranveer Brar. So yeah, we are figuring out. He's into all the activities as much as we can, where technology definitely is also helping.
Right. Thank you. Such a supportive parent is what I think every kid requires at this particular stage. Dr. Manoj Sharma, if you're listening to us, one simple last thing that if you could conclude with.
I would say we are in the transition phase.
Okay.
And we have to help ourselves as well as children to develop various protective factors in our lifestyle.
Right.
And if those protective factors can be promotive communication, positive use of technology, and promotive physical activity and other health-based activities. If these comes and these protective factors remains, we will able to overcome this negative impacts of excessive use of screen, and we will be able to have a healthy and productive use of technology in future also.
Very great. Thank you so much, Dr. Manoj. I would like to take this opportunity in thanking all the panelists for having a very fruitful discussion today on the healthy use of technology amongst children and young people. And thank you for your time, Ms. Sripriya Unikrishnan, Head of School, IKEA School, and Dr. Manoj Sharma, Professor of Clinical Psychology at NIMHANS and from the Shut Clinic. Thank you, Ms. Priya Arya, a parent and an emotion strategist and intelligence trainer. And I think your inputs today added much more colors to the entire discussion. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you, viewers. We'll catch up in the next webinar series. Thank you.
Okay.